Hello, it's Zenith here, and today I'm going to be doing my second tutorial on our 2D JavaScript game engine. So, where we left off, I had a function called gameLoop. Now, disregard that because I realized that this P5 already has a built-in function called draw. So if you create a function called draw, this will be basically looped through. So this is pretty simple. You literally just type in function draw. So yeah, we have our, and then setup remains the same. It does everything at the start. So first we're going to create a canvas, and in this episode I'm going to try to focus on creating a basic GameObject skeleton. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go down here and create this. So function GameObject, and the GameObject won't take any parameters, so we're gonna make a variable called x, which will be the position, equals actually, when creating a new GameObject, let's take a x and a y position. So you give it a default position. So this dot x equals x, this dot y equals y. Now, we're going to need a function, so we're going to say this dot, so what do we want to call this function? I'll just call it move. So move equals function, and it will take the parameters. It will take the x you want to move it on and the y you want to move it on. So we're going to say this dot x plus equals this dot x plus x. So now we'll just paste this, and instead we'll replace it with y. Okay, so now we have every GameObject has a position, and it has a function called move, which allows you to move it on the desired coordinate, and you give it the amount, and then it just adds it. Okay, there we go. So that's done. We have a extremely basic GameObject set up. So now we're also going to need a variable called objects, which is going to equal brackets. So that's going to be our array of objects, because we need to render every object in the scene. We need an array of objects to render. So we'll have our array of GameObjects right here, and then when creating a GameObject, we're going to do objects.push this. Oops, this. So now it's going to actually add the current instance to the objects on creation. So now what we can do is, in the draw, we're going to do a for loop, int I is 0, not int I, variable, sorry, I is smaller than objects dot length I plus. So in the draw function now, it's going to loop through every single object, which an object is automatically added to the scene. An object is automatically added to this array upon creation. So now we're going to create another variable called object equals new game object, and we're going to make it just 50-50 for now. So when you create, I'm going to create an object right there and set it to the position 50-50. So now in our draw function, now there's only going to be one GameObject in this, the only one that we're going to render. So I equals 0, I smaller than objects, something like I plus. So now we're going to do objects. Oh, okay. We're going to create a rectangle at objects I dot x. So that's going to be the x position, this is going to be the y position, and then we're just going to make it 50-by-50. We're just going to hard code the size for now. So this theoretically should generate a GameObject at its position, which is going to be 50-50, and the size should be 50-50. Okay, so we didn't see anything right away, and I'm assuming that it could be something just wrong with this whole rendering a array of objects. I don't exactly know why it would do that. Oh, 50, comma 50. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so there we go. It works perfectly fine. So let's run through. Yeah, so you create a GameObject. It goes and sets the coordinates. It's going to make variables and set it to the given positions. And then we're going to create a function called move, which we haven't actually used yet, which you give it the x and y and it adds it. And then at the end of setup, it adds itself to the array of objects, and then in the draw, it loops through each object and renders it every frame. Okay, so now we're going to take this to the next level. In the loop, we're going to say object dot move. In every frame, it's going to move by 1, 0, so it's only going to move it on the y-axis every frame. And it works. And now you're wondering why I'm saying it works, because there's a giant stupid line. So there's a simple way to fix that. So here, I'm going to quickly explain what I'm doing here. So the way that P5 actually renders is it just draws. So I have to actually reset the screen every time, every frame, because currently what you're actually seeing is it's drawing a ton of squares, so it's actually not erasing. So to fix that, on draw, the first thing that we're going to call is background 255. So that's going to make everything on the screen white. So if we run this, there we go. We have a square that moves. So I guess that's pretty much about it for this tutorial. We have a GameObject class, quote-unquote class, since JavaScript has no classes. This is the closest you're going to get. So we can create a new object, give it its position, and then we can use a function called move to move it every frame, and then automatically loops through every object and draws it. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.